Hi students from Santa Fe, this is Mrs. Savell. Welcome to our lesson for today, how to compare fractions. This lesson is going to be specifically using 1/2 as a benchmark. So there's other ways to compare fractions, but this lesson is going to talk about how to compare fractions. Use 1/2 as a benchmark. Okay, so what does that mean? So if we have one whole and our one whole circle is broken up or cut into 4 equal pieces like this circle is, like these are pieces of a pie, for example, and the pie is cut, this is the pie, and the pie is cut into 4 equal pieces. So each one is 1/4. So what if I want to have half of the pie? What is 1/2 of this pie? 1/2 would be like that, right? One side of the pie. If it's cut into 2 equal pieces, these 2 equal pieces, it's still a half. Each of these is 1/2. This whole thing, this right here, like this. Okay, so we're thinking of 1/2 as a benchmark. But if I have 1/4, each of my pie is cut into 4 equal pieces, 2/4, 1/4 plus 1/4 would be equal to a half. So that's what we mean by using 1/2 as a benchmark. So think of your fraction, think of it when you see a fraction. Is it less than 1/2? Is it equal to 1/2? Or is it more than 1/2? So let's write that down and then I'll show you some examples. So let's use our, okay, so let's write this first. Is it less than 1/2? These are the questions to ask when we're using the benchmark 1/2 to compare fractions. Is it equal to 1/2? Or is it more than 1/2? So I want you to get out your math journal and write this down in your math journal on the next blank page. And if you need more time, if I go too fast, just press pause and finish it. So if I have, let's use our example 1/4. Let's put these aside for a minute. We're going to use that in a minute. So if I have 1/4, ask myself, is 1/4 less than 1/2, equal to 1/2, or more than 1/2? It's less than 1/2 because 2/4 would be 1/2. So that is what I mean by look at your fraction and ask these 3 questions. Now, how is that going to help you? Okay, so if I have the comparison, one 1/4 compared to 4 out of 6. So I want to know 1/4, is it less than, greater than, or equal to 4/6? So I can take 1/4 right? That would be one of these. And I can take 4 out of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4/6. And I know that 1/4 is less than 4/6. And I can look at the model. But if I don't have models, I can compare each one of these to 1/2. So if I have 1/4, I know that's less than 1/2. If I have 4/6, I know that's more than 1/2. And how do I know that? Because if I have all of my pieces there, and they're 6 equal pieces for a whole, 3 of those pieces would equal 1/2. So that tells me that 4/6 is more than 1/2, and 1/4 is less than 1/2. So 1/4 is less than 4/6. Okay, so I'm going to write that down. Let's write that in our notes. Less than 1/2. 1/4 is less than 1/2. 4/6 is more than 1/2. Oh, I hate when I do that. I make a 2 like that, and then I make a 2 like that on the same page. I don't know why, but that's beside the point. Okay, so that tells me that 1/4 is less than 4/6, or 4/6. So another way to think of your benchmark fraction is to make 1/2 you're going to have the numerator is half of the denominator. Okay, so if you have a fraction that's equal to 1/2, that means the numerator is half of the denominator. What are some fractions that are equal to 1/2? Let's look at that. Make sure you have all this copied down in your math journal. Let's do that real quick before we go to our examples. Fractions equal to 1/2. So what are some fractions equal to 1/2? So we know 1/2 equals, if you have fourths, what is half of 4? 2 plus 2 is 4. So 2/4. If you have sixths, what is half of 6? 3 plus 3 is 6, or 3 times 2 is 6, so 3/6 is equal to 1/2. What about if you have eighths? What is equal to 1/2 if you have eighths? So you think, what is half of 8? 4. 4 plus 4 equals 8. So you could keep going. 5 out of 10. 6 out of 12, 7 out of 14, 8 out of 16. So notice a pattern. Your denominator is always going to be an even number, the bottom number. It has to be, you have to be able to divide it by 2, or to make it equal to 1/2. Now, You will have fractions that don't have a denominator that's equal to 2, or that can be split in half, or is an even number. So what do you do in that situation? Well, you're just going to think, let's say we have fifths. Okay, let's say we have 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, 5/5. And we want to find the fraction that's equal to 1/2 out of fifths. Can't do that, can you? Because you would have 3/5 and 2/5. So what do you do when that happens? Okay, so let's say we would do, let's say if we have fifths, 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5, 1, 2, 3, 4 plus 1/5. Okay, so that's going to be equal to 1 whole, 5 out of 5. So how would we find a fraction equal to 1/5, to 1/2 if we're talking about fifths? You can't actually do it, right? Because you would have 2/5 and 3/5, but you can think when you're trying to use this technique where you find a fraction equal to 1/2 and you think, is it less than a half, is it equal to a half, or is it more than a half? If I have fifths, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what's half of 5? 2.5 fifths, and that's not a real fraction. But you can think of it like half of 5 is 2.5. That's not a real fraction, so don't ever write a fraction like that. But you can still think of it that way when you're comparing fractions and you're trying to think of if you have 2/5, you know that's going to be a little bit less than a half. If you have 3/5, you know that's going to be a little bit more than a half. So you can still think of it that way. So let's go to some examples. Okay, so you're not ever going to write a fraction like this. That's just an example of what to think of when we are using 1/2 as a benchmark. Let's get to some examples. Okay, so let me get my sheet here. Compare these fractions with less than, greater than, or equal to. So let me go ahead and make sure you can tell where these are two fractions in each group, and we're comparing. Okay, so I have 4/6 and 1/3. So I'm going to use my technique of thinking of each one. Is it less than a half, equal to a half, or more than a half? Okay, so 4/6, our half, 1/2, if we're talking about sixths, would be 3/6. 3/3 is 1/2 of 6, so 3/6 is 1/2. So I'm just going to write that down to make notes. 1/3, there's one where 3, you can't do exactly half of 3 when you're doing a fraction, but if you have 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3, that's 3/3. So 1/3 is going to be a little less than 1/2, because I could either have 1/3 or 2/3. So that tells me that this is less than a half. And this is, if 1/2 is equal to 3/6, this is more than a half. and this is less than a half, so I would put my greater than symbol. 4/6 is greater than 1/3. 2/8 compared to 5/6. Okay, where would a half be if I had eighths? What is half of 8? 1/2 equals, half of 8 is 4. So it would equal 4/8. So that tells me 2/8 is less than a half. 5/6. Where would my 1/2 be if I have sixths? What is half of 6? 3. So that tells me 5/6 is greater than a half. 2/8 is less than a half, so 2/8 is less than 5/6. Okay, so I'm using my half, 1/2 as a benchmark, remember? Now I have 2/6 and 6/10. Okay, so if we're talking about sixths, I already did the work right here, so I can just look right here. If you, whenever you're solving something, if you do some work and it helps you with another one, you don't have to do it again. Okay, so if I'm talking about sixths, 3/6 equals a half, so 2/6 is what? Less than a half, because 2 is less than 3. So this one's less than a half. Two over 6 is less than a half. What about 6/10? 1/2, if we're talking about tenths, I need half of 10. What number can I multiply by 2 to get 10? Or 10 divided by 2 is 5. 5 plus 5 is 10. So 5/10 is equal to 1/2. So that tells me 6/10 is more than 1/2, because 6/10 is more than 5/10. More than 1/2. 6/10 is more than 1/2. 2/6 is less than 1/2, so my symbol would be less than. So that's using our 1/2 as a benchmark. Also, don't forget, you have your, most of you should have your study buddy, and on the back of that study buddy, you have a fraction chart. So I'm going to use my fraction chart now to look for 1/2, and I'm going to do the rest of these by using my fraction chart. So if I know that this whole thing is one whole, and I know that 1/2 is right here, I can carefully, now you probably don't want to draw on your study buddy chart, but you can put something right there in the middle, like right down the middle, like a ruler, and something with a straight edge, and put it right there down the middle. For this lesson, I'm going to go ahead and draw a line going down the middle to show here's 1/2. So let's look at all these fractions. Make a nice thick line to show 1/2. Not very neat, but you can kind of see the point. So here's our 1/2 line. Actually, I'm just going to make that a little bit darker, so y'all can see that on the video. Okay, so now I'm going to use my fraction chart. So now I'm going to compare 2/3 to 3/6. I'm going to look at my halfway bench. I'm going to use 1/2 as my benchmark. So any fraction that's over here is less than a half. If it's right on the line, it's equal to a half. And any fraction that's on this side is greater than 1/2. because this right here is exactly 1/2. So 2/3, so now I need to look at my thirds. Here's 1/3, here's 2/3. So 2/3 is over here. And I'll go ahead and draw on this. Now you probably don't want to be drawing on your chart, but I just want y'all to go ahead and see that. And then 2/3 is here, and then 3/6, oh, notice 3 is half of 6, so that's actually going to be exactly 1/6, 2/6, 3/6. That's going to be equal to 1/2. So if 2/3 is here and 3/6 stops here, I can see that this one is greater. 2/3 is greater than 3/6. 2/3 is more than 1/2. 3/6 is exactly equal to 1/2. Okay, let's look at 4/7 and 3/8. 4/7 is actually not on the chart, so we'll go ahead and use our, think of your benchmark fraction 1/2. Okay, so if I have sevenths, I'm just going to write it out here. 1/7, 2/7, 3/7, 4/7, 5/7, 6/7, and 7/7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3 tells me that 4/7, if I have 1, 2, 3, 4 on this side and 1, 2, 3 on this side, is a little bit more than 1/2. 4/7 is a little bit more than 1/2. 3/8 is going to be on the chart. Here's my 8s. 3/8 is 1/8, 2/8, 3/8. Stops right here. And here's 1/2, so this is less than 1/2. So if this is more than 1/2, 4/7, that means it's greater than 3/8, which is less than 1/2. All right, our last example, I have 4/8 and 5/10. So here is 4/8, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4/8 stops right here. And 5/10, so 4/8 is exactly at 1/2. 4 is half of 8, so this is equal to 1/2. Now, what about 5/10? 5/10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5/10 stops right here. So that one is equal to 1/2 because 5 is half of 10. So if they're both equal to 1/2, what would our symbol be? Finally, we get to use that equal symbol. 4/8 is equivalent to 5/10. Well, that's your lesson for today, to compare your fractions using 1/2 as a benchmark. And I hope that it makes it clear to you, and keep on doing your math and doing those fun fractions. Bye.